Halestorm follows in the grand tradition, long lineage of rock and roll bands with siblings. So many bands of brothers, Van Halen and Pantera and Black Crowes, Oasis, the list goes on and on, but very few with a brother and sister. The only ones I can think of are the Carpenters and the White Stripes, right?
We used to get the Carpenters all the time, although the White Stripes weren't really
Are they not brother and sister?
No, they're
wow.
not, yeah.
So there's only one other then?
It was all just smoke and mirrors.
Really? Have either of you guys ever played in any other band, or you've been doing this just together since day one?
This is the only band that either of us have ever played in. About 16 years? Yeah, crazy.
Amazing. So what's it like being in a band with your older sister?
I mean, it's cool. It's really, it hasn't been any different. It's really the only lifestyle that I know.
Wow.
It's cool because when you're on tour, you always kind of feel like you're in like a home environment, So it's like a family kind of, it kind of takes the work out of it, which is nice, And the two of us have always gotten along.
Yeah,
we've always connected musically.
You guys both are very easygoing, and I think with her getting a lot of the attention, being the lead singer and being a female vocalist, it seems like you guys still have your own identity, and I think you get a lot of attention in the band, which is
Thanks.
good.
That was kind of part of the challenge, wanting to up my stage presence, because I was like, hey, I want some love back here, come on, just because I'm not a girl up front, whatever. But it's cool.
One thing that we have in common is we've released a lot of covers. When you do covers, do you just basically pay tribute to the original drummer, or do you guys like to switch it up?
We like to change it up. It depends though. Like some songs, like on this last cover EP, we did Shoot to Thrill by AC/DC. And for that one, I really wanted to hold true to the original, that kind of backbone AC/DC drum groove, I have so much respect for him, especially now after having to learn that song. I always think, I go in the studio, I'm like, oh, it's AC/DC, it'll be easy. It's just like the same beat. Like everything is so mapped out in the pocket. Yeah. It's easy to fake, but it's like really hard to master. So for that one, I really wanted to hold true. But then like this other one, the Get Lucky cover that we did by Daft Punk, like I wanted to completely 180 that song, because that's kind of like a pop disco song, and we're a rock band, so it depends on the song, kind of, But I generally like to put my own twist on things. I gotta say, that kind of ties into my question that I had for you, because you do a lot of that tribute stuff. You did the Led Zeppelin tribute, you do the Rush tribute, you've done the Keith Moon, Beatles.
A Who tribute.
So when you're applying yourself to those different styles of music, do you really concentrate on trying to make sure it sounds exactly like the original drummer?
Those happen to be my 4 favorite drummers of all time: Ringo, Bonzo, Keith Moon, and Neil Peart.
I will yes, I will second that.
So in those cases, I wanted to get into the skin of those 4 drummers. So Tama built me replica kits for all 4 of them. So I have a Bonzo kit, a Moon kit, a Ringo kit, and a Peart kit. Because I got the replica kits, I was able to really get into the shoes of those guys. And all 4 of those kits are so different from each other. I mean, Ringo's is, the most bare bones basic kit. Then you have Keith Moon's kit, which was like, only 3 crashes, no hi-hat, no ride, no China, 3 crashes and identical toms. So you have to play like Keith behind that kit. Then you have Neil's kit, which was like the classic early 80s Tama kit, the massive one. So you got to play like Neil when you get behind that. And then the Bonzo kit is just like the legendary 26-inch kick drum. So
I saw that. That was a really well done replica of the old Zeppelin, of the old Ludwig.
And all 4 of those tribute bands I did, I mean, I did my best to be those guys. When I did Ringo, I played it like Ringo. When I did the Moby Dick drum solo, I did it like Bonham, playing with the hands. And, when I did the Neil Peart YYZ solo, I did his solo. So that's what was fun for me. I know the video of me doing the Neil Peart solo is on YouTube. People that don't know that's me doing a Rush tribute are probably like, oh, Mike Portnoy, he's just ripping off Neil Peart. But to me, I was trying. It was the total point. That was totally the point.
So, like, when you're preparing for these kind of things, do you kind of feel like it's almost like method acting? Like you're kind of trying to not just replicate the drumming, but also the drummer.
Absolutely.
Himself, the character.
I even dressed like those guys. When I did the Keith Moon thing, I dressed in the gas station jumpsuit that he wore like for a couple tours. When I did the Bonzo thing, I did the first set dressed as The Song Remains the Same. Then I did the second set with the Clockwork Orange and outfit and the jumpsuit and the hat. The Neil Peart one, I actually dyed my beard blonde to kind of make it like disappear, and I had actually the handlebar mustache and everything.
So you really got into character.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, that's what was fun about it.
I saw you even made the facial expressions that Keith Moon makes when he's out of his mind, gacked out of.
That was of
like
all
this,
the tribute
you know?
bands. That was the most fun one because
Bet,
getting to be Keith Moon for 2 hours on stage.
To be Keith Moon for a day, how cool would that be?
But it was exhausting. Like now I know why he didn't make it past 32 or 33.
He ran out of gas, right?
Oh my God! Because his style was just like his legs always going. It's just it's
elbows
nonstop.
are flaring. Yeah.
Do this for 2 hours straight, man. You know, it's like how.
I don't know where he had the energy. Well, I could probably guess where he found the energy. But
well, you know, his left floor tom, he didn't even play. That was just his drink holder.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I've toured with you, with Adrenaline Mob, and I got to say it was pretty humbling. You guys were playing before us, but your drum kit was like 3 times the size of mine. You know, from that tour, I was like, I got to add some more stuff.
Have you always played a small kit?
Actually, no. When I was a kid, I had them. I was a Keith Moon fan. You know, I was Motley Crue. The
I can't
big drum
imagine
kit
you
thing.
with a big
I had a
giant kit.
massive double bass like toms. And then when I was a little bit older, I watched that Zeppelin DVD, and from that point on, I was like, okay, I got to rethink the entire way that I play. So I switched to single bass, scaled it down to just like a basic kick, snare, rack, 2 floors. You know, just real basic, just Bonham rip-off. You know, as of recently, I started kind of wanting to add more and more. I started adding more cymbals, more bells. I've been kind of like getting bored with the basic setup and wanting to add more and more.
See, I'm in the opposite boat. I've been playing the giant monster, triple bass kit for 20 years. Now, with the Winery Dogs, I'm coming full circle to where I started. I mean, when I started on single bass, just a typical Ringo, John Bonham, 4-piece, 5-piece kit. Started with that, then I went through a whole Neil Peart phase and got into Rush, and then built up the big giant double bass kit. And then all those years with Dream Theater, I became known for this massive mammoth monster
I've seen
kit.
the mammoth monster kit. That thing is nuts.
It's fun. It's awesome. I mean, I always said the 2 things you could tell about me from those giant kits are A, that I don't pay for my gear, and B, I don't set it up.
There you go.
But after doing that for so many years, you want to mix it up.
That's what you want to strive for, right?
Yeah.
That's what
An endorsement deal and a good drum tech.
When you start to configure a drum kit, when you're thinking of a kit for a tour or for a band, like where do you start and how do you build from there?
In all those cases, me and my tech would go to the Tama factory, either here in LA or on the East Coast in Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Building the custom rack and getting all the cymbals you want, all the hardware you want, takes a lot of time, a lot of building. And I've been with my drum tech for 20 years. Jose's been with me for 20 years. And so he knows what I like and how I like it. But I have that great relationship with Tama and Sabian that they just will provide it. But I love playing the small kit, man. I mean, I have a blast with the Winery Dogs. At first, I think it was really weird for people to see, like me on this tiny small kit, but it feels natural. I mean, that's how I started on a small kit, and you kind of have to just break everything down to its most basic form. And at the end of the day, this is all you need. And any drum beat is basically essentially kick, snare, and hat.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and if you have a giant kit, you could start having all the knickknacks and the splashes and the stacks and
It's
embellishments. But at the end of the day, this is the meat and the potatoes of anything you need to play.
Especially if you're starting out playing drums, I think that the biggest challenge for me was when I started working in the studio, and my producer stripped all the tricks that I had, all the big drum kit that I had, stripped it all the way down to just this kick, snare, hat, and he said, play it and make it sound good.
You nail it. You're one of the best out there
thanks,
on,
man. Likewise,
just nailing this. The meat and potatoes, backbeat, strong groove. I mean,
well, I love seeing you switch into something like this because I think that just shows your versatility as a player. You can do the big kit and you can also scale down to this, and it's still great.
It's important for me just to even be inspired, to have something. A new environment.
You need to be challenged, right?
Yeah, totally.
So do I.
Totally.
Same thing.
Totally. The Get Lucky cover you did. Can you illustrate what it was and what it became?
It's hard to mimic exactly what it was, but I'll tell you what, that was a really fun song to just really sink into. We recorded that song at Blackbird Studios in Nashville we were there for like a day. So I think like the original song was kind of like that more disco, so it was a little bit more like. you know, it was all programmed drums. It's not real drums. The challenge was, how do you turn a programmed kind of disco dance song into a rock song? So basically what I wanted to do was just kind of like complement the guitar riff but play backbeats. So I was just kind of like real kind of cashmere, like, you know, just pound it out, you know. So going out of the verse into the pre-chorus, or actually I think it's out of the pre-chorus into the chorus, it stays solid, but then it kind of comes in on two. So it's like. So that was just kind of like a little tricky thing that we thought we'd throw in, a little break. He's up all night to get some. And really, it kind of just was inspired by us trying to follow the vocal pattern.
That's cool.
You know, and that's, you know, one thing that I always loved about Keith Moon too, was that he always followed Roger's, you know, voice. Like he would always accent on things. So when it comes to writing any parts, I always try to think of the vocals and how I can, you know, fit it in there.
Most drummers are the backbeat.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Who, Pete Townsend was the backbeat, and then you had Keith like playing circles around it, you know, and following the vocals, doing a lot of phrasing, which was very vocal-oriented phrasing. I love when bands of one genre cover another genre.
Yeah, I mean, it all started on our first cover EP. They wanted us to cover Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, and we're just like, really? How the f are we gonna do that? You know, it was actually a fan pick. We had a list of songs, and it came down to like Sad But True by Metallica, and Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, and Lady Gaga won. So, you know, ever since then, I've always liked, you know, applying pop songs, because there's a lot of great pop music out there, but a lot of, you know, committed rock fans don't want to listen to it, you know?
When I was with Adrenaline Mob, we did that with
That's
the Duran Duran
yes.
song, which your sister sang on.
Yeah,
we did Come Undone, which was a Duran Duran song, and then Lizzie ended up singing on it. But that's another perfect example of a pop
the greatest
song
version
made metal. Yeah.
I love
it was only great because of your sister. So
well, I highly doubt that.
All right, so we got to wrap up, man. I mean, we could obviously do this for hours.
It's been awesome.
We have done this for hours.
We could do this,
together,
yeah, right.
But I mean, I love this show. Just musician to musician, just interviewing each other. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We could never, like, hanging out, you never ask each other real questions and stuff like that. So this is good that you actually get to do that.
Yeah,
but
cool.
Before we wrap, what's Halestorm doing? What are you doing?
Well, right now we're writing for a new record, not touring. Actually, this is the most time we've had off tour in a long time, and it feels really weird. I'm like sitting on my hands. I'm like, what do I do? You know? So we're kind of just writing, working with producers, trying to figure out what sound we want to make to top our last record. So, you know, we're still kind of a new band, still kind of in the beginning. You know, right now just kind of trying to, you know, regroup as a band, trying to get in the mentality of writing the record. After that, we'll make the record, then tour some more, hopefully with you.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I would love that.
So what's going on with you right now and all the many things that you're doing?
Oh, man. Well, I mean,
got Winery Dogs,
Winery
right?
Dogs is
Yeah.
my main band, my main focus right now.
Great record, by the
thank
way.
you,
The one that
man.
you gave me,
Thank you,
incredible.
man. I put together a prog cruise. I'm doing a cruise. That
No way!
I actually put it together. Me and Derek Sherinian.
I'm packing my trunks.
Come on,
Let's go.
I don't know. Can you handle 5 days of prog music though, man? It's going to be insane.
Can you handle 5 days?
Well, I'm playing in 3 bands on it. Not only am I like putting the whole thing together, but I'm actually playing with Transatlantic.
I don't know where you store all that info, man. That's pretty amazing.
I have an elephant memory. That's
There
just
you go.
But I'm playing with Transatlantic, and then my instrumental band with Derek Sherinian, Billy Sheehan, and Tony McAlpine. And then I'm also playing with Big Elf. Big Elf is like old school Beatles meets Pink Floyd meets Deep Purple meets Queen, Crimson, Sabbath, old school vintage stuff. Awesome, and I'm playing a small kit on that.
Nice.
And then I just finished drums for the new Flying Colors album, which will be out towards the end of the year. That's my band with Steve Morse and Dave LaRue and Casey McPherson and Neil Moore. So it's just a lot of stuff.
Dude, well,
Yeah.
It's been an honor getting to sit next to you, man.
Absolutely.
Really, you are a legend,
No,
and
thank you,
I'm
bro.
humbled to be here with you.
Oh,
so
man.
thanks for having me.
Always a
Appreciate it.
pleasure hanging with you, man.